1 in 8 people suffer from infertility. I am 1 in 8. Jason and I are 1 in 8. This has been the hardest struggle that we've gone through in 6.5 years of marriage. We've had a great marriage, and I'm so blessed to have him as my partner. But I never thought that I'd have to go through this pain and this suffering just trying to bring life into this world. Recently, we underwent our first IVF cycle, which we were hoping and praying that it was our only IVF cycle. But as I've gone through this, I've realized how hard it is and how other people talk about it and say, oh, it's just a few injections and it is hard, but really you're not ever prepared for how hard that this can be. Emotionally, the past 2.5 months have been the most draining that I've ever gone through just to bring life into this world. I've felt like I've needed to start a video vlogging. I don't even know how to vlog, but to start something to help others to know what a struggle this is, to open others' eyes that don't realize how hard it is to go through infertility and treatments and everything like that. We've been married for 6.5 years and have had a great marriage, but we have literally been trying for those 6.5 years to get pregnant. We've gone through years of medications, Clomid, Femara, timed cycles, doctor's visits, and finally a year ago we decided to go to a reproductive endocrinologist to take the next steps of what we needed to do. We did 3 cycles of intrauterine insemination. All 3 of those did not work at all. And then in April, we had the choice to move forward and go through 3 more cycles of IUI or move forward with IVF. With us being the age that we are, being married for 6.5 years, trying everything we can, and that time to start a family, we're just like, time's up. We've got to move this forward. You know, we're both getting older, and we are ready to have our family. So we had to meet with a lot of people to try to figure out financially how to do this, and we were blessed to be able to move forward with everything in July. First IVF cycle we were so excited. I wasn't nervous. I mean, I was, but I wasn't. The injections for the retrieval were a breeze. I had to inject myself 3 to 4 times a night for like 12 nights in a row. I had to go to the doctor, if not every other day. It was every single day for blood work, ultrasounds. It was inconvenient for me, for my work. Timing schedules had to be, it was a lot. It was a lot. But I never knew how hard it was going to be once that retrieval process got finished. We were able to retrieve 10 eggs, which initially they thought we would get about 20 or 30. So to wake up to find out that we only got 10, I was heartbroken. I cried. But I was told that 7 to 10 was average. So we waited for the next day to get the next phone call. Out of those 10 eggs, 7 were fertilized. So at that point, we were left with 7. And then I didn't get an update for like 5 or 6 days. They had to wait and grow. At the end of that time, the 5th or 6th day came, and I got the call that we had 2 embryos. I cried. I couldn't believe that we lost 5. But the nurse said, I'm so grateful that I can call you with the 2, that, at least I can call you that you have the 2. A lot of times I have to make phone calls and I have to say that we have none. So at least I was grateful for that. At that point, I was just in mama mode and I wanted those embryos back in me, but we had decided to do the PGS genetic testing before we would do a transfer to see what was a normal or abnormal embryo. So we had to do the biopsies, send those out on the 2 embryos that we had. And about 14 days later, we got the call that only one was normal and the other one was abnormal. At that point, we started the process of the transfer of the one that was normal. And that was it took a few weeks to get that whole process going. And again, it's another round of injections and shots and doctor's appointments. And these injections, I almost cried every night, not just because of the pain, because the needle was so big, but emotionally, I knew that we were getting to the last moments of being able to transfer the embryo and not knowing how this was going to go. That was very, very hard. In all of this, in all of the support groups that I'm on Facebook, they've been so helpful. The few friends that I have that have gone through this have been helpful, but nothing in the world prepared me to go through this emotionally, how hard this was. Every single time we got that phone call of those numbers dropping was like a stab in the heart. We've spent so much money, spent so much time, have prayed so much to be left with one embryo. So we put our whole faith into this one embryo. We transferred it on my husband's 45th birthday, which we thought would be amazing and have amazing luck just because it's on his birthday. And we kind of did the math, and if it took 9 months later, it would be around my birthday. So it just seemed that it would be perfect timing, our one little embryo. And that's really all that we wanted, was we went in this for just our one baby to have our family, even if it was with one child. Friday, we went to the doctor's office for blood work for the pregnancy test to find out if it took or not. And I had to be poked 4 times by 3 different nurses to get the blood draw because it just wasn't happening. I had hoped that, we laughed about it and hopefully, this was the last time this was going to happen anyways, so at least for a while. And mind you, before I even started this, I hated giving blood. I used to pass out giving blood. My mom would have to be with me at any doctor appointment just to help me, talk me through it to give blood. At this point, I just give them my arms and my hands and say, get it wherever you can get it. So we got the call on Friday afternoon that we were not pregnant. Our one embryo that was normal, that we had hoped and prayed so hard that this would be it, didn't make it, didn't attach. We don't know what happened. But the past 3 days has been days of mourning, of grieving, of everything that we've gone through. And to come out with nothing right now. It's been very hard. I've cried every day, multiple times. Don't want to get out of bed, but have to. Luckily, today we both had to go back to work, so that kind of forced us into everything, but my mind can't stop thinking and thinking about what if this never happens. We were meant to be parents. It is in my bones to be a mother. This isn't the end. It can't be the end. So we've gone through a lot the past few days and talked a lot, and luckily we had prepared to, we purchased a plan where we can go through this one more time, a retrieval one more time, transfer the embryos until we bring home a baby. So we're going to move forward with that. Pray to God that we get more embryos this time, not just the one. And that this end result will be our future child. Now that we know what to expect, I would think that this would be a lot easier, but it's not. I'm going to be struggling with hopelessness, thinking that it's going to fail again, just because that's what happened with the normal, healthy embryo. The nightly injections, the shots, the timing, the appointments. This is hard. This shit is just hard. So I'm going to start vlogging, journaling, something, documenting this process to see if it'll help anybody that has to go through this again. I pray for everybody, and I pray that nobody does have to struggle and suffer through infertility, because I would never wish this on anyone. Life is precious. Every child is precious. If we could take them all, we would. If somebody would just drop a child at my door, I would take them right now. But I guess it's just not that easy. I do want to share one last thing, and I hope that this will bring attention to anybody watching. As we were getting married 6.5 years ago, when everybody gets married, the first thing that they ask is, when are you going to have children? When are you going to have children? You need to get it on it right now. And that's just an expectation after you get married. And thinking on it now and thinking about every time that we were asked and still asked, when are you going to have kids? When are you going to have kids? We've been working on it. But to be asked that and pressured and just constantly reminded and having to share an answer that we're trying, but we're not successful is heartbreaking. One thing I've learned through this is I will not ask anybody that's newly married, or even if they're not married and they've already had their first child or their second child, and ask them, when are you going to have your next child? I will not ask that. I won't put that pressure on anybody because you don't know what they're going through. You don't know what's wrong. You don't know if they just have decided not to have children. But one thing's for sure is nobody needs to feel pressured. And if anything, just be uplifting. I, for one, ask for prayer for this next cycle that we're going to start. Pray for Jason and I to be strong and have faith, continued faith, because it's struggled through this. Especially the past few days, we've just been so heartbroken and so empty feeling. So we know that he has a plan. We know that God is the driver of this and he will lead us to wherever we're supposed to end up. But we need prayer for continued faith, for hope, to not feel so hopeless in this process. And then mostly just to love each other well, because I'm a mess and I know that he's struggling and I want to be the best wife that I can be if I can't be the best mother right now. So I'll continue documenting this next process just to bring light to everybody's eyes of what it really is like to go through in vitro fertilization, to go through this infertility process of trying to bring life into this world, not the traditional way, but whatever way, whatever that means, we will thank the Lord when we have that precious baby in our arms. So until next time, thank you for the prayers and support. I appreciate it.